All right, everybody, welcome back to another video here on Financial Friends and another episode of the Dividend Journey, where I discuss either my dividend portfolio, the news, some form of educational topic on dividends, or something of that sort. So today we're going to be diving into Kenvue, Johnson & Johnson's new company, as well as talking about Starbucks, their dividend increase in the future of that company as well. So not too much to update here on the portfolio. But before we dive into today's video, go ahead and hit that like button if you enjoy this type of content, and also hit subscribe. We have now passed 1,000 subscribers, so thank you all very, very much. I do appreciate it, but this is only the beginning of Financial Friends, and this friend group will continue to grow into the future with your support. So thank you very much, and let's go ahead and dive into today's topic, which is Johnson & Johnson. So, I do own Johnson & Johnson here in the Dividend Journey portfolio. I have about 0.44 shares, but in my other portfolio here on Public, I own, $335.37. It doesn't have the actual share count on here for whatever reason. Let's see if we can populate it. Here we go, 2.05 shares of Johnson & Johnson. So I own a couple of shares, and I found interest in this story of their new announcement of Kenvue. So Kenvue is going to be the new name for the planned consumer health company. So a while back they announced they would be taking the consumer health side of Johnson & Johnson and getting rid of it. And not getting rid of it in a bad way, but spinning it off into its own new company. And the name is kind of the first formality of the business. It was just called New Consumer Health Company for the longest time, whenever they did refer to it, and now it has name Kenvue. So, Ken refers to knowledge, an English word primarily used in Scotland, and view referring to sight. So, it says, with rich knowledge of human needs and deep understanding of consumer insights, Kenvue will deliver meaningful personal health solutions. A lot of buzzwords, a lot of signaling the kind of morality of how this company is going to be designed. They have a compelling purpose and a timeless visual brand. They're going to have the purpose to realize the extraordinary power of everyday care. So a lot of different, again, signaling of how this company is going to be designed, the kind of aesthetic and vibe they want to have, the type of purpose and mission they want to have, a lot of buzzwords. You can see the logo here and also in the thumbnail. It is a K, the kind of two little sticks off on the K is actually a heart sideways, and it has a more modern, sleek time, they describe it as timeless, but kind of just modern look. Kenvue, they say, is poised to thrive as a standalone company with a leading portfolio of brands that consumers love and trust. Now, they've announced it, they've signaled how the company is going to be, they've shown us the design, but what does this actually mean? It means that brands that you know, like Aveeno, Band-Aid, Listerine, Neutrogena, Tylenol, the Johnson's brand, that generated $14.6 billion in the full year of 2021, will now be its own brand. And I have this kind of video they have here playing in the background as I discuss this, but I have a few thoughts on this, and it's going to play an integral role in my portfolio moving forward. I'm curious on how many shares of Kenvue I'm going to get within each portfolio relative to the amount of shares of Johnson & Johnson that I owned. It's pretty crucial because it determines how large of a position I now have in this new company. In addition to that, I want to understand what Kenvue is going to do moving forward. It's no longer Johnson & Johnson. They are going to have the sort of stigma around them that they are a Johnson & Johnson spinoff, but they've signaled they're going to be a new company with a new view of care, with all of this new sort of direction, because they can purely and simply focus on exactly what they want to be, which is a leading consumer health company. Now, with that being said, the $14.6 billion of revenue generated in 2021 comes nowhere close to the other leaders in that space. Combined, Johnson & Johnson was a leader. Kenvue, in and of itself, it's not going to be. Procter & Gamble did $76.11 billion in 2021. Unilever did $62.04 billion in 2021. Now, of course, these businesses, as we know them, are kind of the consumer businesses, but they have consumer health built in. Kenvue is just consumer health. So my question is Kenvue going to build out? Are they going to expand into laundry? Are they going to expand into all aspects of the consumer, or are they going to stay focused on consumer health? And if they're going to stay focused on just consumer health, are they going to tap into some younger and fresher brands? Aveeno, Band-Aid, Tylenol, Neutrogena, Listerine, these are all brands that have been around forever. We've seen them in the grocery store. We've seen them on shelves forever. Procter & Gamble does a fantastic job of gobbling up those younger, fresher brands, riding them, building them out to be bigger, more established brands that people trust, and then from there they might spin them off and move them and kind of swap brands between all those big companies. But I feel as if Kenvue is going to take one of two approaches. They're either going to be a part of that swapping, or they're going to ride out their cash cows, Aveeno, Band-Aid, Listerine, and others, and they're going to need to branch in to newer, fresher brands to drive growth. Because the reality is, Aveeno, Band-Aid, and all those other ones were not getting it done. And that's part of the reason the brand is getting spun off. Of course, there's talk of the talc, there's talk of bankruptcy and all these other things that were happening with the whole Johnson & Johnson brand, and they just wanted to get rid of it because a lot of the problems with Johnson & Johnson stemmed from the consumer health side and, legal trouble on that side of things. So can they ride their cash cows? Can they invest in younger businesses? Can they grow them? I am not sure at this current point in time if Kenvue will fit into this portfolio. And I also have to now refocus on Johnson & Johnson. My understanding of Johnson & Johnson was through the consumer health lens. That's the area of the business I could touch and feel literally in grocery stores, in Target, in retailers. I could understand that side of the business a little better, and I knew that they were a dominator, really the dominator in pharmaceuticals and in medical devices. But I now need a better understanding of medical devices and pharmaceuticals because I feel that long-term, Johnson & Johnson, probably not Kenvue, is going to prove the better investment, especially with the diversity in that area already with Procter & Gamble in specific to this portfolio. Now, in terms of public, I'm not sure if I'm going to keep Kenvue. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep Johnson & Johnson. It might be a better idea for me to cut ties with J&J in this portfolio, gobble up the rest of Kenvue, try and see if I can ride that or just take that 335, diversify it among the other ones, and focus in on Johnson & Johnson on this dividend portfolio because they do have a reputation to keep as a dividend king. So, all of that being said on Kenvue, we're going to go ahead and transition into Starbucks, which over the course of the last few days here did announce an increase in their quarterly cash dividend, goes from 49 cents to 53 cents. And I want to speak on this a little bit because it has some importance and some timeliness with their new era of growth. I talked about this in This Week in Finance, so that link will be up there. You can find that story. But Starbucks is now focusing in on delivering annual 7 to 9% comparable store sales growth and 10 to 12% revenue growth and 15 to 20% non-GAAP EPS growth over the course of the next 3 years. That's a lofty goal, especially with unionization and some other things going on, a new CEO stepping in. This is a lot to accomplish. Now, of course, they're sticking to this cash dividend increase. This is really what I care about in terms of dividends. I want to see this being increased. And it increased again. Last 12 years, it's done the exact same thing. It's increased. This plays an integral role in something I'm going to kind of touch on here at the end. But Starbucks is gearing up for more growth. I do not see the 12-year mark being the end of this. I do not see the 50-year mark being the end of Starbucks domination. This brand drives growth. They have so many levers that they can pull to continue to deliver growth, specifically in home, which I think has a lot of upside potential for them, probably a little bit more lower margin, I should say, but a lot of potential, and they see it too, bringing the pink drink and some Nespresso and tapping into some different markets. But the real true driver of growth lies right here. Digital sales. Starbucks app, for the most part, is flawless. The integration into actually picking up your drink in store is relatively, for the most part, in my personal experience, flawless. What they are going to be able to do is open some new stores. Now, this isn't particular to China, but they are looking to open some new stores here in the United States that are purpose-built. And they have this laid out right here. They're going to look to create some mobile order only, some pickup only, some delivery only locations so that DoorDash, Uber, mobile orders, at-home orders, whatever the case is, can then get access to their drinks swiftly and easily compared to having to go into an actual physical store or ride through the drive-thru. So there's going to be a focus on digital, expanding digital, they even say here, unlocking experiential convenience for customers, allowing it to be a seamless and easy process to pick up your drink. That has the potential to continue to drive the growth. They're seeing 75% of their drinks are cold. You need to get those quick. You need to get hot drinks quick too, and allowing that experience to be easier with a focus on digital, which is the future, and tapping into what Dutch Bros is doing, which is drive-through only, a mobile order kind of only experience. Starbucks has more room for growth. Now, speaking of growth, this dividend did increase from 49 cents to 53 cents, and I want to demonstrate how powerful that can actually be. You could see currently $1.96 per year or $2.12 per year. So you can see the growth there, the separation. Now, I personally own roughly 3 shares. So for me, this goes from a $5.88 annual dividend to $6.36. It's a pretty good step up. But if you owned 50K of this stock, which I'm hoping to do at some point in my life, you go from $1,154 to $1,248, or about $94 a year difference with one increase. And the next year, you're probably going to see a similar thing. Granted, it might not be 8.1%. Sorry, I wrote the wrong number here. It should be an 8.1. You might not see that large of an increase every single year, but year over year, you're going to see an increase because, as I said, I see Starbucks having more growth. They've seen growth in their dividend the last 12 years, and I don't foresee that stopping. So, before I take off for today, do not take any of this as professional investment advice. None of it is advice. It is simply my thoughts and my opinions. But if you want to comment your thoughts and your opinions down below, please go ahead and do so. It's an open forum. That's what Financial Friends is all about. So leave your thoughts on Kenvue, leave your thoughts on Starbucks down below in the comments. Share this video with a friend and hit that like button if you did enjoy. I will see you all in the next one. Take care.